I think it's finally time to make this video, whether it be long or short, in-depth, missing parts. Honestly, I don't care. And that's really the base of this video because I want you guys to understand a few things. First of all, my thoughts on Kingdom Hearts 3 and the upcoming DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind, as well as how Kingdom Hearts 3 affected me and how I would put videos out on YouTube. This video is really going to be mostly, I want to try and make it center around more so my thoughts on Kingdom Hearts 3, kind of like a review, but really just my thoughts, my personal opinion, and how that affected my presence on YouTube, whether I had a presence or not. Because I do know that there were a lot of people out there that enjoyed my content, and honestly that just means the world to me. But I do think that you guys deserve a little bit of explanation as to my absence and also my personal opinion on Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm not sure if you guys are really following me on Twitter, but on Twitter I'm sure you guys would be able to see exactly how I feel about Kingdom Hearts 3. But I never made a video about it because at first I wanted to make like a review, breaking down everything individually and why I thought this was that and everything about that. But obviously it took way too long to do this, and honestly there's a lot of personal reasoning behind it. Growing up, Kingdom Hearts, the series itself, I was going to say a specific title, but the series itself I held very dearly. The way that the story went inside of all the Kingdom Hearts games was very, very in-depth, and the more that they added spin-offs to these games, and they were actually real titles, and I don't consider them spin-offs, but it was just an easier way to say it, it just added more and more on top of what I already knew. I started off with Kingdom Hearts 2, so you might already see me as someone who favors Kingdom Hearts 2 over Kingdom Hearts 3, but I don't want to really... I am hoping to show people who are at least thinking that, I don't know if there are any, that it's not just a matter of gameplay or story, even though that is basically what it is, as to why I would favor Kingdom Hearts 2 over Kingdom Hearts 3. And I wouldn't even say that I favor Kingdom Hearts 2 over 3, but I digress. Kingdom Hearts as a series was just really amazing, and the way that the gameplay was and the way that the characters would interact with other characters that we knew from Disney was just really amazing. The battle between dark and light and how they need to have each other in order to actually be was also very profound to me. The way that the Keyblades worked inside of this game, how they can open doors to any location, even though they didn't fully utilize that capability, at least the way that I envisioned it that it could be, it was still an amazing game. I do also want to just warn you guys that my memory is really bad now. It's not super bad, but it's definitely not good. So I want to definitely let you guys know that I might be missing points about my review or how I feel about Kingdom Hearts 3 and other things from the Kingdom Hearts series that I might not be able to bring up off the top of my head in this specific video, because unfortunately that's just how my mind works. Like, it is like selective memory or whatever. I don't really know what it is, but when the moment presents itself, sometimes I cannot bring up the things that I know that I can bring up any other time if I'm just talking to myself or some weird shit. And sometimes it's just like lost from my mind. So I just want to apologize for that ahead of time because I definitely think it'll happen. And of course you guys know me, the reason why I'm even saying any of this is because when it comes to YouTube and my followers, and when I talk about Kingdom Hearts, I talk about it on a very personal level, and I try and be real as fuck with everyone that I am talking to right now. That's why I'm saying all of this, I'm not trying to make it so personal, but, me and Kingdom Hearts had a very personal connection, so I feel very, very strongly about this game. And that is why I feel the need to make this video after so long. It took so long. And I really do apologize for that, because I feel like there may have been a few people out there that were expecting a review from me, especially because I literally told you guys that there would be a review. Way near the beginning of us on this journey, when Kingdom Hearts 3 came out and everything of the sort, I really wanted to make a review, but the way that Kingdom Hearts 3 was to me, I just did not feel that connection anymore. It's really hard to describe, and it's really hard to really put into words. That's why I want to just talk about specific things that happened in Kingdom Hearts 3 that I was not pleased with, and that things that I was pleased with. But Kingdom Hearts 3, honestly, I don't want to say was a disappointment to me, but that's really one of the only words that I can use. But I don't want to use such a strong word. You know what I mean? It just didn't please me. There were many things within the story that just made absolutely no sense to me when you can compare it to how the rest of the series works. There's so many moments within the game that I just thought were misplaced or just kind of thrown in there to kind of create a plot point, which is how the game is supposed to work, especially when you're trying to open doors up for the future of the generation and other future games. But the way that I saw this game was I don't want to say that it should not have been a game that doesn't hint towards the future, but I feel like this game either had none of that or way too much of that at the same time, and it didn't really even I don't know how to explain it, bro. I'm really about to cap, and I was gonna say it didn't focus on the things that was happening within the game right now. That was cap, but there are things inside the game that just didn't sit well with me. And I think overall it made me have a negative review or outlook on the series itself. Even though the game is extremely good and the story was pretty well written as far as Disney, and I think the way that they incorporated the new Disney worlds inside of the game was definitely very, very intriguing. And of course, that's always the fun part about it, you know? When Disney comes into the mix, that's the whole fun. When they add these Disney worlds and these Final Fantasy-like characters and make them interact because they're able to intersect with each other's worlds and interact with each other because of the power of the Keyblade. But I felt like the story that was really supposed to be focused on didn't have enough focus. And that is the main conflict that is going on within the story, where Xehanort has been revived and he's assembling his 13 Seekers of Darkness, even though, well, technically they already been assembled, and the Guardians of Light have to assemble their Guardians because they are short, and in a sense they know it is basically just destiny that they have to make their 7 and fight against them. Like, it's just destiny. They have to fight against them, but they have to have 7 at the very least. They technically have more, but at the very least they have to have 7. They're just fighting them because it's darkness and they need to be stopped. They're trying to summon Kingdom Hearts and basically bring about darkness. But Xehanort is smart, and he was able to create 13 of himself so that he can then have a full 20 and create the Keyblade. It was just all intelligent thinking, basically, and over time a big plan that was supposed to come to this moment where the darkness prevails and light expires. But it's what happens throughout the story. Everything that happened in the Keyblade Graveyard I thought was more or less good. I definitely think that there could have been a lot more content, which is what we're getting in a DLC. I will get to that later. There definitely should have been a lot more, but I think it's more of the story that I had a problem with throughout the actual game itself. Because to me, really one of the only things that I can take out of this game that I really, really enjoyed was the gameplay. It's either on par, if not better, than Kingdom Hearts 2, in my opinion. I know that's going to be strange coming from someone who likes Kingdom Hearts 2 so much, and definitely for people out there who favor Kingdom Hearts 2 over all the other games, which is what I was kind of leading at the beginning of this video. But this game's gameplay was so good. Like, this is what I was waiting for. The only thing that I would literally change about the gameplay style of this game, the only thing that I would change is to have blocks connect better, which is just my opinion, but also to allow the form changes to last longer as a whole, and not really needing, well, not necessarily not needing those form change extenders. I would like those to stay in the game, but I'm saying like base forms, not base forms, but the base time that you stay inside of the Keyblade transformation, I would want that to be a little longer. I feel like you get almost no time in those forms. If they were to add literally just a good 5 to 10 seconds onto that, it would make it all the worth better. But it's a story that I have a real problem with, because this might be my problem with looking back and expecting things and having extremely high expectations. But a perfect example is my Kingdom Hearts theory video. One of the last theory videos that I made before Kingdom Hearts 3 coming out, and it's actually one of my biggest theory videos that have been released on my channel. It was the video about the true meaning behind the meeting of Aqua and Diz in the Realm of Darkness. There was a lot of meaning behind that to me, and my theory, I wouldn't say it was spot on, but it really could have been. Like, their meeting was kind of just brushed over inside of the game. What my theory did was basically be exactly what could have happened. They just didn't want to take that route. I'm not saying that my theory was right, but it could have stuck. I definitely get that they want to maybe put some mystery in there, where there's a lot of things that you want to leave the gamers, the players, to just theorize for themselves when you're playing the game. But a game like this, especially it being a culmination of all the games from the past, I think that they should not have done that. I think that there was, if anything, too much of that. They should have explained a lot more things so that we can have a lot more knowledge on the lore and the powers of the Keyblade and light and darkness all together, and just how the things work in this universe, because we do get a little bit of that throughout the game, but I feel like there is not enough of that, or rather there is too much of that, to the point where things are just happening in the game and it's not being explained whatsoever. Like, this is another example. In the end, where Terranort was facing the 7 Guardians of Light and basically soloing all of them, and then they basically die and they reset and everything like that. In one specific part, Sora is charging at him, and he just stops his blade and keeps it stuck in like a little dark orb. We have never seen that power before, and it is being used now. And it just came out of nowhere. And it's like, Light should be able, or rather, I understand that they make it very prominent, or just very out there. I'm sorry, I don't have the word for it. That darkness usually does trump light as far as powers. But Sora's been on a journey for 2 or 3 years now. And I just think that this game should have focused a lot more on him actually gaining new powers and learning about the Keyblade and learning about the past, other than just going on a fucking road trip and just trying to find out one power that he's had the whole fucking time. Like, you get what I'm trying to say, right? He could have had more powers and more capability at the end of that battle if he was actually focusing on being able to get abilities that would actually benefit him in an actual battle, in cutscene, you know what I mean? Like, in gameplay, sure, I have all of this power, but he didn't use any of that in that cutscene. Sora was actually very powerful by the end of the game, but he gets soloed by Terranort. And all of those other Keyblade quote-unquote masters. Like, what the fuck were Lee and Lee and Kairi doing in the Realm of Darkness? Only learning how to wield the Keyblade, or actually becoming a Keyblade master? Because if a Keyblade master was in this battle, like Master Ericus, bruh, he would be able to solo Terranort and probably most of the other Xehanorts that are on the Seekers of Darkness. Probably not Xehanort himself, because obviously he lost that fight, but come on, bruh. Like, this is the thing that frustrates me about this game, is that throughout the story, things just should have gone differently. And it could have gone differently and still ended up where it ended. I'm basically just repeating myself. But, like, another thing that I can really say is that with Pete and Maleficent, that is one of the biggest things that I had a problem with in this game. One of the biggest things that I had a problem with in this game, because in the last game they foreshadowed them. In the last game, Dream Drop Distance, they foreshadowed them very heavily that they would have a really significant part in Kingdom Hearts 3. But that is not the case whatsoever. In Kingdom Hearts 3, they're literally wastes of models. They're only walking around in each and different world looking for the box that has been foreshadowed for a long time. Well, not for a long time, I apologize. Ever since back cover. Ever since back cover, the box was a very big thing, and we knew that it was going to be a part of Kingdom Hearts 3, and it was going to be a bigger part of Kingdom Hearts 3 to possibly show the future of Kingdom Hearts. But the thing is that Maleficent and Pete in Kingdom Hearts 3 literally were going around each world that we were going to and doing absolutely nothing. And they did absolutely nothing by the end of the game. To the very end of the game, they were literally just standing around saying a couple words. It baffled me. It's blasphemous to me that these characters that were so important to the previous games and foreshadowed to be even more important to the future of the games had absolutely no input, or what's the word that I'm looking for? Any sort of prominent moments in Kingdom Hearts 3. The biggest game that was anticipated by several people throughout the Kingdom Hearts series. This is the game that everyone was waiting for. And this was the culmination of everything that was happening in the past and all of these other games. How many games are there? 7, 8? So many games that was released, and all of them were perfect. Like, me personally, all of them didn't have any real problems. I don't necessarily like two of the games, which is Recoded, because that is literally like a remake of the third time, which is Kingdom Hearts 1, only hinting towards something that like we already knew about, which is, or the people that he's connected to, something that is very like almost common knowledge. But what I'm saying is, all of the games had such to me, such a perfect story. They were able to give enough information throughout the game to make things understandable for Sora and his crew throughout their journey. However, in Kingdom Hearts 3, I just felt like that was a miss. And I'll get right back to what I was talking about. Pete and Maleficent, they were very important characters throughout the Kingdom Hearts series. And Kingdom Hearts 1, they were the most important, but they never left. Or rather, Maleficent. And then Pete was there, and they're actually now connecting it in Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, or whatever it's called. How Maleficent actually came back in Kingdom Hearts 2. So that's something that I'm really pleased with, but they're doing it in a different game. They could have done it in this game, bro. They could have done it in this game. Everything that is happening in Kingdom Hearts Union Cross and everything that is about to happen in Kingdom Hearts Remind, all of that should have been in this game, but they didn't want to give it the time. They didn't want to give it the nourishment that it needed in order for this game to be whole. This game, I just felt like it had so many missing plot points, or just random moments that were just thrown in there just to have thrown in there. There was nothing solidifying all of these moments, and that's what I feel like. And I'm honestly feeling very, very strongly about this. Obviously, you hear how I'm talking. Like, Kingdom Hearts 3 had so many things that it could have done for the future of the series, while also explaining several other different things throughout the past of the series. They just had to put so much other content in there, and that's the thing that frustrates me the most. I don't even blame Square Enix for everything that happened in Kingdom Hearts 3. I think that the reason, personally, why things happened the way they did in Kingdom Hearts 3 is because of Disney. Disney is such a big corporation that I am not even about to get into this subject, honestly, but I want to briefly talk about it. I think that the reason why everything happened the way that it did is because they had to focus more on the outside aspects as far as instead of the story, and also because they had already created another game that would show this kind of content, which is Union Cross, so they felt no need to put it in this game. But I thought that that was a terrible idea. I think that everything that is happening in Union Cross that connects it to this game and explains a lot of other things from the games in the past, and also that being a door that could be straight lore for Kingdom Hearts, I thought that Union Cross was honestly misused, is all I'm saying. And Disney, it being such a big company, Square Enix, I feel, had to focus a lot more on Disney worlds and getting it perfect and making this and making that to Disney's point of view. And Nomura wasn't really, I feel like Nomura or Square Enix itself was not really in control fully of how they wanted the game to be and their vision, because of them have, you know, the connection of Disney and the worlds that they wanted to have in this game, or possibly what the worlds that Disney wanted to have in this game, because this is all marketing material to me. Like, this is what I see. Like, literally two of the movies based from the, no, two of the worlds that are based from movies already got sequels, like literally right after Kingdom Hearts 2 came out. I'm not going to be surprised if Big Hero 6 gets their sequel next, and then Pirates of the Caribbean is about to get a reboot. Bro, this is all marketing material, and that's how Disney works. They're all about the money. I feel like if this wasn't the case, and things were different, and Square Enix had a lot more creative capabilities and less chains, not using the right words again, but if that was the case, I think that this game probably would have been a lot better, because they would have had a lot more freedom on how they want to use these characters, use these worlds, and make the story. But I digress a shit ton. I just feel very strongly about this because I personally don't think that this has to do with my... No. You know what, I do understand that this is probably all about how I expected the game to come out, but I've played every game of the Kingdom Hearts series at least 3 times, so I understand fully how the game is in a sense supposed to work. That's why me and other fans on YouTube make these theories, and I've seen other people's theories, and a lot of them make sense, a lot of them don't, but you know, at the same time, to me personally, because I look at things in a way of perspective where it has to be done logically. The way that this was done in this game, you know, it should be similar to this in this game, because that's how it happened in this past game, kind of thing. You know what I mean? I deduce things and I predict things and assume things based on other knowledge that I have, and I try and use that in my mind, and that's just how my mind works, logically. That's how I think. And the way that all of these other games, all of these other Kingdom Hearts games worked, I just thought that this game was completely out of place. Like, Sora should have matured a shit ton. I'm sorry, but after Dream Drop Distance, Sora should have matured a lot more, and he didn't. I don't think that he did in this game. He was basically the exact same character, which is fine. Sora is Sora. Sora can still be Sora, though, if he fucking matured, and he actually had a thought process. The way that I think about Sora in this game is he's literally a shonen character from like any other anime, and usually shonen characters are stupid. They don't think, and they cannot have a thought process of just thinking logically, like me. That's maybe weird, and now I'm like shifting it to a different thing, but that's how I see him, and that's basically just fact. Naruto, fucking Ichigo, nah, not Ichigo, sorry, Cap. Goku, definitely. But, you know what, anyways, I digress again. That's how I see him. Like, Sora is not thinking just like he used to in the past games. This is the 3rd game. He has grown 2 or 3 years now. He should have had a maturity level much higher than he did before, but he's still making kind of stupid decisions. I just think that shouldn't be a thing, because of him having multiple games and multiple experiences. He should have been able to learn from those experiences and mature, but I feel like that wasn't the case. And I kind of want to get back to what I was talking about, where like throughout this game he could have had much more opportunity in these worlds, or much more. He had, how do I put this? I think that the way that things could have worked in this game, again, as I said before, is he could have used these worlds to his advantage to actually learn things. And I think that the worlds from the past also could have been, or I'm sorry, not the worlds from the past could have been implemented into these worlds and into this game altogether to really show him how to become a real Keyblade master. That was his whole journey, to become a Keyblade master. But in order to become a Keyblade master, he had to achieve the power of waking. But I just think that in order to, we've never heard of this in any past game. Why is it that him learning the power of awakening making him a Keyblade Master. That shouldn't be the thing. That's how Jensen made it out to be. Like, oh, you have all these powers, oh, but you lose them every fucking game. But now you have a culmination of all these powers that you can use and learn again. But in order to become a master, you have to learn the power of waking. I just thought that that was... See, that's a good possibility, but I just think that throughout the game, instead of seeking out this one power that literally does nothing, and he had the whole time, he could have used that time instead to learn other powers of light, powers that would trump darkness, because literally at the end of the game, like I was talking about before, they get wrecked. All of them get wrecked, and they literally need to use the power of light to rewind time and create a whole new universe. That's literally what happened on some Flash shit, on some DC world level shit. They went back in time using the power of light, and they've rewound time basically. And what's even more weird is that I think all of them knew that that happened. They just did not talk about it. That's another thing. Like, they gotta stop talking about unspoken. They gotta stop not speaking about things that happen, because they just allow it to not be explained. That's the problem about this game. They literally went back in time. They can do this, but they can't beat Terranort. Like, that's what I'm like. Are you kidding me? Terranort, it straight up bodied them, and then they just summoned a shit ton of darkness, and they all died. They basically just all died. And then Sora was strong enough, because he has a strong heart, to stay alive and revive all of his friends. And by doing that with the power of waking, he was able to rewind time. That is crazy. That is like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell? He was able to use this power, the power of waking, the one power that he had the whole time, mind you, at the very end of the game, and he used that power to rewind time, and it was barely explained. That's what I'm getting at. He could have, for one, used the time that he had throughout this game to get different powers, better powers, that can actually make a difference in this fight. And I think that that could have been said for the same for other characters, because they literally just stand around and just swing their blade. Like, are we not using magic here? Donald literally trumps all of them with his Zeta Flare. He bodied Terranort. He was the one person that bodied Terranort, not all of these other Keyblade Masters, mind you. Keyblade Masters. None of them did a thing against Terranort, but Donald was able to hold him back? Are you shitting me? You're kidding me, right? This doesn't make any sense to me. Now I'm just ranting. I'm gonna need to calm down. Give me 1 second. As you can see, there's several reasons why I just... It's not that I'm thinking negatively about this game. I just think that everything could have been done differently. And I highly respect Skyward. I forgot, I think he has a different name now. But I highly respect him for basically rewriting the game. I think he only did like some different changes, and he you know, there were some different things that he changed, but I respect that because he also felt the same way that I did, I think, where this game could have just been done differently. But I see that on a big scale, because when I look at the things that happened in the past Kingdom Hearts games, it was that, but on a dumber level times 10 in this game. I just think that that shouldn't have been the case. Don't even get me started on Kairi. Don't even get me started, bruh. She had so much potential as a princess of light and a Keyblade wielder. She had so much potential to be something so much bigger than all of these other characters, because she has such prominent light in her heart. But they didn't want to do that. They wanted her to get wrecked. They wanted her to be fucking a plot device at this point. They wanted her to be Sakura. Like, I am so sick. Like, she could have had so much potential in this game, and they just threw that all away. Now I'm starting to stand. Let me stop. Like, this... She got wrecked instantly. She was in a fight, she was fighting them, even though in the background she was fighting, you know what I mean? Like, before you would actually join the fight, and you would just stand there, and you'd look at them, and she's actually, like, fighting, swinging hands and shit. Like, that was cool. But when you actually get into the cutscenes, and in a sense, the more canon part about this game. Not really the more canon part, because everything is canon, but like, you know, the cutscenes, they're more prominent. You know, they're showing you what is actually happening in the game. She gets bodied. She gets bodied instantly. Like Zemnis just grabs her by the arm. So you don't have your other hand. You can't use magic with your other hand. You're a princess of light, and that brings me back to another point where in this game, what were you doing? Like, you had so much time. The way that it was explained in Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, and I think in Kingdom Hearts 3, is that the wizard, I forgot his name off the top of my head, I'm sorry, that was training them, he took them to a place where time does not matter. It is literally a hyperbolic time chamber. I made a video about it, and then several other people I saw actually made a video about it that was relatively similar. Hyperbolic time chamber. So they had all this time to become Keyblade Masters, and they weren't able to do a damn thing against the Seekers of Darkness. I understand. You know what? I get it. I get it that the dark side has much more prominent abilities and are much more capable at being able to hold back the light, and they are able to, it's almost like the dark side from the Force. They are able to use methods that others would call unnatural, and you know, because of that, also they don't resist, they don't hold back. You know, that's just how the dark side is. So naturally they're going to be more powerful. But the truth behind it is that light should have been more powerful than that, and they didn't allow that to show in this game. In my opinion, if all of them actually spent the time that they had in this game to actually train and gain new abilities and new fighting in the presence or in the coming of a war, y'all are just flying to several Disney worlds trying to find one power that will do nothing but revive a member, as opposed to focusing time on training and gaining new abilities and learning about the past and what you can do as a whole, as a person, for the future of this world, being a Keyblade Master and someone who is very powerful. They didn't use that time. They used that time to squabble around and do nothing. And it's even worse to me for Lee and Kyrie, because they were in a hyperbolic time chamber, bruh. They had all the time in the world, most likely. You know what I mean? Like, they probably had a lot more time than Sora did in his journey because of the place that they were in to become Keyblade Masters and more. But the fact that they are deemed Keyblade Masters means that they should be overpowered as fuck. But that was not shown in this fight, and that's what blows me. But you know, I think I'm starting to focus a little bit too much on basically the same thing. I want to try and move on to some other things that I also didn't like about the game. I know this is basically turning out to be like a rant video, but I don't care. I just think that you guys should know this. You know, so with the Seekers of Darkness, that's one thing that I didn't really understand their decision on. They decided to bring back basically all the other Seekers of Darkness from the past, or the Organization 13. A lot of the original members came back, and I honestly just was not pleased with that. I think that they could have given them new life a different way, and not having to bring them back into the organization. Let me start off with this point, and I think I should hopefully be able to progress into my other points that I actually want to talk about. One thing that I want to point out is that in one of these past games, I think it was Dream Drop Distance, they talked about the organization as if it was, Xehanort described it as splintered versions of himself throughout time. And to me, the way that translated to me is that it is literally versions of him from like other times. Because when he said other times, they're literally, they show Ansem, they show Xehanort, and they show young Xehanort. And that's what intrigues me, because Xemnas and Ansem were literally Xehanort, his heartless and his nobody. Young Xehanort is also literally him from the past. And then there's old Xehanort. And then I do believe that Terranort could also be a part of him because he transferred his heart into him at a very specific time. But one thing that Nomura said in an interview that was not explained whatsoever is that he said people are going to be coming back, but in a different way. So they decided to bring back these original organization members in a specific way, but they did not explain it. They literally did not explain it. They just had the yellow eyes. We all just had to assume how they happened. Was it them being revived instantly, and Xehanort was right there waiting for them as they got revived as their human selves, and he shot them with their heart? Or one of them was even like, I chose to become a nobody again, or something like that. So basically they became nobodies. When they became real people, these people that rejoined the organization from the past, they became nobodies again. And that's what intrigues me the most, is that they did not explain that whatsoever. Nomura said in an interview that they come back in a very special and specific way, but it wasn't shown. It wasn't explained at all. So it left me with confusion, because Xehanort first said in Dream Drop Distance that it was going to be several persons of himself throughout time that were all a part of this 13 Seekers of Darkness. But instead they decided to use old characters that then got implanted with Xehanort's heart after re-becoming a nobody. At least that's what it seems like, that's how it worked. But again, it was not explained. So I had to theorize it, and that's what pisses me off. This game should have not been so much about theorizing, but answering all your questions. And yeah, so that's one thing with these new organization members, is that they came back, but I didn't expect it to be the old members. I thought that they could have had their own story. These old characters, I'm saying like the original organization members, they could have had story within the game. Like literally, all of these characters that were from Union Cross, which is Marluxia, Larxene, Luxord, and Demyx apparently, all of these people, including Xigbar, they were all from the past. But if they were kept human, they would have been able to help Sora with the past, learning about the past and his powers of the Keyblade and what he can do as a person for the future, and learn for himself what the Keyblade is. They could have been that source of information, but instead they wanted to reuse them as the same things that they were before and give no information about them and keep them in mystery. That's what frustrates me, because in Dream Drop Distance, Xehanort said it would be splintered versions of himself throughout time. Splintered versions. That word specifically, now that I remember it, makes me think of parallel. It's almost similar of a word. Splintered versions. Parallel versions. You know what I mean? So what I was expecting is literally different looking Xehanorts from different times. Young Xehanort, mid-age Xehanort, Xehanort from Scala Kylum, Xehanort that did this and that. You know what I mean? Different universes, splintered versions of himself. But that's not what we got. We didn't get Xehanort, we got the past. We got the same characters that we had before. They're not Xehanort. And that's another thing that I felt really strongly about, is that these organization members, they should have been other people. They should have... why would I call them Seekers of Darkness if they used to be Keyblade wielders? They should have given them a little bit better justice, and what's the word? They could have had so much more redemption from the past, why they turned on the organization, and what they could have done for Sora in the future. They had a perfect redemption arc in front of them, but Nomura chose to use them as just basically set pieces in a chess game that literally would do nothing. They didn't do anything but fight. And that's what frustrated me most, is that instead of using splintered versions of Xehanort, they decided to use past versions of organization members and just put Xehanort's heart inside of them. That wasn't pleasing at all, and it actually left me confused because of the things that they said in the past. Both Nomura and Xehanort did not match what happened in this game when it comes to the organization. So I'm starting to get hungry here, so I had to go make myself some food. But in the meantime, I want to try and step away from the negative thoughts that I have about Kingdom Hearts 3, and I want to maybe think about some of the positive things from this game, because there are a lot of things that I thought were really great in the story, and I thought was a really good direction. It's not all me hating on this game, but basically the reason why I think about that is obviously because as a whole, I just think that the game did not do well in its choices of direction and story. But there were a few things that I really want to at least just point out that I thought were really good choices for the game. And hopefully when I talk about this, it'll actually bring up more subjects that I want to criticize about. One of the things that I really was pleased about in this game, I just think that it could have gone a million times further, was the introduction to Luxu and his connection to the past and this game. Again, what happened with him, with Xigbar being Luxu and it being in the secret reports, I think that that was a very, very good choice. I just think that most likely the content that we're about to get from Remind that'll explain a little bit more about it, and the content that we're getting from Union Cross, I think that should have just all been in this game, to be honest, so that it can get a full explanation and a full foreshadow to the future of what Kingdom Hearts may hold. I thought it was one of the most perfect reveals, and it was really, it's something that I completely did not expect. I just was so, I just didn't have really much of a reaction to the reveal, because at this point in the thing that I think would have not been, could have been changed, is how obvious they made it. They just made it really obvious from the jump. So I was like, oh bruh, I didn't know that he was Luxu, but I know for a fact that Xigbar has some sort of importance to this box and connection to the past. It was from literally the very jump. He almost said, may your heart be your guiding key. That was not a sneak peek. That was straight up reveal that he is from the past and he's gonna have a much more important role in this game. And because of that, like I said, the way that my mind works, I try and put 2 and 2 together. I try and put 1, 2, 3, and 4 together. That's what my mind does. So when I saw that, I knew instantly that that was Xigbar, or that Xigbar would have a much more prominent role in this game. And it was revealed that he was the person at the end of back cover. He's Luxu, and he's the one that holds the box. But again, the box was never explained. That's one thing that I think that I can now also kind of transition to, is just that the box was not explained at all in this game, when it should have. And that will also lead me into the introduction, I think, of how the Kingdom Hearts Remind DLC is most likely going to be everything that I believe probably should have been in this game from the jump. And that's what frustrates me more, is that they should have given themselves enough time to add more story, more lore, and more connections to this game to really create the future. He even says do not consider this final mix, because if it was final mix, it would have had the content that would come after Remind. Basically, everything that is about to be in Remind is everything that should have been in the game from the jump. And I understand that a lot of people don't see that. A lot of people would not agree with this video. But obviously the people who are still here, if they're even listening, they understand what I'm saying, and they can probably relate to what I'm saying. Everything that was in Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm sorry, no, I'm kind of digressing. Everything that Luxu brought to the table, and how Xigbar's character was able to kind of foreshadow and connect things to the past, which is Union Cross, I just think that everything could have been done in this game, as opposed to doing it in Union Cross, a hint of it in Kingdom Hearts 3, and then it later being explained a lot further in Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind. That all should have been in this game. Everything should have been in this game to really slowly foreshadow Zigbar's reveal. I think that Zigbar's reveal was honestly just too quick. Like the way that I'm saying, they made it too obvious from the jump that he was going to be much more important than we all had all expected. And that's my problem, is that I think that that should have been done much slower throughout the story, and at the same time giving us more information about the past, which is what Union Cross is doing. They could have done something very similar to Xemnas or Xehanort's new self, basically Terranort, throughout the Kingdom Hearts series. You know, he had a much more prominent connection to Xehanort and then Ansem and his nobody, which is Xemnas, and then them all being culminated once they both got defeated is gonna recreate Xehanort. It's something like that. It's something that happened throughout all the games. Luxu was then marked as the person from the past who is connected to the Master of Masters and the Lost Masters in this one game in only a few moments. I think that even though that this is what is supposed to be hinting towards the future of Kingdom Hearts 3, I think that all of this information should have been just much more expanded on, and things like that in this game throughout the game, instead of giving it away almost so easily, and then at the very end we're like, oh snap, it's him. Oh wait, I could have guessed that though. Like, he didn't die, he jumped off of a fucking cliff. Xigbar is not stupid, bruh. He's not Sora, man. If he's jumping off a cliff, he's not gonna die. He's gonna fade away right in front of you if he's gonna die, just like every other character. That was the real giveaway to me that he was gonna come back and he was gonna be a much more prominent character, is when he decided to phase away and just jump off a fucking cliff. No, like, that is way too obvious, and I just think that he could have had a much more prominent and important place in this game if his character was hinted at very subtly throughout the game in a much more grand way, with more grandeur. I guess that's what I was trying to say. See, I thought that the decision to make him that character was a great decision. I just think that the way that they took the steps to reveal it was just way too easy to decipher. Like, I understand that this game was targeted towards young kids in the past, but we're all old now. We're smart. Like, we can put two and two together now. So the fact that they were foreshadowing things as if this is still a kids game made it really uneasy to me, because everything was just way too obvious, and the story itself was not as enjoyable because things were happening in such a weird pacing that was almost similar to the past games, but at a worse level, in my opinion. Another plot point in this game that I think I really had almost no problems with, but obviously I'm me, so I'm going to talk about my problems with it at the end. One plot point that I thought was very well done, and I thought just could have been done differently at the end, was the whole Aqua part. See, that part, that's one thing that I also would like to say, is that, like, it had things in its context that were not explained but could have been, but I'm going to digress from that for now. The whole Aqua meeting what's his name in the Realm of Darkness, Diz, meeting him, and then in that same meeting Ansem pulls up and starts a fight, and she's able to fight him with no Keyblade. So whatever, she was throwing hands. She was throwing straight hands with Ansem, and she was able to hold her own. But the thing is that, so that was a really good part. And the fact that in that fight, she was then blasted with like a ball of darkness, and she was then plunged into the oceans between, or whatever it's called, the lanes between, whatever. She was struck into the ocean basically, and with that blast, I think, is what mainly caused it. She was then just falling deeper and deeper into darkness until she was then just bathed in darkness and became a dark being. And then in the future, in the story, Riku and Mickey come to save her, and it comes to find out that she is basically one with the darkness, or at least one with the dark realm. And that is something that extremely intrigued me. And she had the yellow eyes, the white hair, and the thing is that I want to start off and leave it at, I thought that was a really great decision. It was really cool to see her with hair going white, with yellow eyes, and being a person that emanates darkness and talks very negatively. Because in this form of herself, it's not like Xehanort, where he is someone who harbors darkness, but is basically not depressed. Because it's kind of like the dark side, you know what I mean? With her, she allowed those feelings of hurt and sadness and loss to affect her on a mental and physical level. And that is also because of the darkness hitting her and her being plunged into darkness. And that is something that really intrigued me, because it was then, right then and there, further explained, but not like verbally explained, that her being in that darkness for that extended amount of time made her something similar to Xehanort. And that's what really intrigues me. I hope that they explain a little bit more, or rather no, they didn't even explain, to me, I don't think they explained Xehanort getting this dark will, having this connection to darkness, getting the yellow eyes. I think he always had the white hair, so that I'll give him that, but he had the yellow eyes, and at least here, this kind of symbolizes and also confirms that having those yellow eyes gives you some sort of connection to darkness. Vanitas can also be a perfect example. With the yellow eyes, in this case with Aqua, it is confirmed that when she bathed herself in that darkness, when she was in that darkness for so long, it changed her physically on a physical level, where her eyes turned yellow, and then her hair turned white, and also the ends of her hands turned red. That's more or less like a Darkling, I think is what it's called. A lot of people were connecting that to a Darkling from Union Cross, which is also very prominent. I believe in that theory too. It makes sense. But she didn't fully become a Darkling, because I think she had such a strong connection to the past and her heart and her bonds, that she was able to keep her physical human form, but it changed her still on a physical level because she was bathed in that darkness. And again, I think this is where I'm going to digress into, I guess, my problems with this, is that they did not, one, physically, or rather verbally, explain this. It was only left to the viewers to just expect that this is possibly what happens with Xehanort, and that this is basically all that happens with Aqua, as far as being a person of darkness. Because I think personally, this is just an opinion at this point, I think that they could have kept her as a Xehanort, and maybe at the very end she would then turn into a person of light. I was really hoping that with this plot point exactly, that they could have done something similar to her being and staying on the dark side, and actually being an actual seeker of darkness, because she was bathed in that darkness for so long. I know that I'm kind of contradicting what I was saying about splintered versions of Xehanort, but this is like another dark will, or at least she can become one, because she is now connected to darkness on a mental and physical level. And that could have also explained how Xehanort has this dark will inside him, because he always had the white hair. And I think that could have been a connection from the very beginning, but of course we're never going to see anyone ever being born in this game. It's just them being them, how they always been. But this game does confirm that he first had silver eyes, and he then got yellow eyes. You can only now assume that even further, even though I was assuming this ever since day one of knowing this character, that him being connected to darkness is what gave him the yellow eyes, and he got this dark will that everyone has talked about and stuff like that, and he's talked about and everything. And that's how we got the yellow eyes, being connected to darkness. This basically explains that. So with Aqua, she could have been like a seeker of darkness, an actual seeker of darkness. And on our side, the Guardians of Light, it could have been somehow us saving Terra. Terra keeping his physical form, because he has now been separated from Xehanort. Xehanort being there, Ansem being there, Xemnas coming back, but them being separated, that would have made a million times more sense. They just would have to go find Terra. He's maybe in the lanes between, or he's chilling in Traverse Town, super depressed because he couldn't do anything against Xehanort. You know, there could have been other things and could have created a much better redemption arc for those characters after Sora would get Ventus from sleep. See, I understand that Aqua would have been the only person to actually be able to get Ventus, so that makes sense, but I don't know. I'm now actually contradicting my own theory, because I was going to say Ventus and Terra could save Aqua, and that was what one of my theories was at one point, sort of, but it now doesn't make sense, you know, because Aqua would have to be the one to save him, but I just don't know. You know, if anything, I can shift this. What could have happened is, because it was Sora who was the one who found Ericus's Keyblade, which is the key to unlocking the Castle Oblivion. I think that as another part of the redemption arc for Terra is that he could have used the Keyblade instead of Aqua, showing that he has the capabilities of becoming a Keyblade master, and also just opening the door instead of Aqua. Obviously, another point that doesn't need to be explained, but it would have been a really great plot point to a redemption arc for Terra. And Aqua could have stayed a Seeker of Darkness, and that could have also been a further explanation with Xehanort on his connection to darkness, and possibly an interaction between the two, because Aqua is now closer to darkness than she ever was before. A person who was filled with light is now a person of darkness entirely. That could have been a much better plot point for her character, especially if she were to get saved and Terra were to sacrifice himself to save Aqua. I just think that so many things could have been done differently in this game that it's not even funny. And now you guys are getting the full heat of it. See, this is why I didn't want to make this video, is because I think my expectations, or just the way that I saw Kingdom Hearts, it just did not match up on how Kingdom Hearts 3 was. And the way that Kingdom Hearts 3 was, it just did not please me. I thought that things were supposed to be different. I thought that things should have been done much differently and in a different direction. And I think that's why I kind of steered away from YouTube. I want to be honest with you guys. When Kingdom Hearts 3 came out and I played the game, so many things happened within the game as far as the story direction itself that it just did not please me, or it just did not make any sense when I look at things that happened in the past. And that really discouraged me, because this was a game that I've been waiting for years. 4 years. Several years I've been waiting for this game, and the culmination of all of these other games was just not there. It wasn't there. The only thing that was there as far as a culmination was the moveset of Sora and his capabilities of using the Keyblade and all of his abilities. That was the culmination of all these other games. Basically all the abilities mixed into one new moveset for Sora. But no. The story, the direction of the story, it just did not, on an overall basis, it did not please me. And that's why I stopped making videos. I rarely did anything for Kingdom Hearts 3. I did only soundtracks. You guys know me. A lot of the videos that I had before Kingdom Hearts 3 were all theorizing videos, speculation videos, and discussion videos. And now that Kingdom Hearts 3 is out, you literally see none of that. And the reason behind it is because this game just did not please me, and it basically discouraged me from talking about it, because I would have almost nothing but bad things to say. Like, I didn't want to really give you guys this sort of outlook, but this is how I feel about the game. And this is coming from someone who has felt very personally about this game for a long time. I'm not saying that these other people don't feel the same way as me. Everyone has their own personal connection with Kingdom Hearts, who is a Kingdom Hearts fan, and they all look at it a different way. But this is how I look at it, and I just think that the story, the way that it was finally drawn out was just erratical. It didn't make any sense. It was blasphemous. The way that things turned out in this game, I just did not think that that's how it should have turned out. From me playing all of these other games and how all of these other games turned out, this is not how this one should have turned out, and it should have been more full of Kingdom Hearts content as opposed to Disney content, because that is basically what this game was filled with. It was all Disney, and everything was focused on Disney worlds and barely focused on Sora, and the one power that he had to get in order to become a Keyblade Master and to basically save someone that had to be saved from the jump was with him the whole time. And that made no sense to me. That made no sense to me. So you had this power the whole time. It's just like a shonen character who just activates it at a point that he really needs it. No, that should not have happened. Sora is not a shonen character. He should have been used on a much grand scale to really show how a Keyblade Master could be and what they should be able to do. And also, this being a culmination of all the past games, as well as it trying to connect it to the past with Union Cross and Key and back cover, this game, in my opinion, should have had all of that connection in the game, as opposed to having only hints of connections to the past in this game specifically, and allowing other games, Union Cross, to explain that further. That should have all been in this game, and everything that is about to be in Remind should have been in this game. I want to talk a little bit about Remind because I think that is finally just a good point to just transition into this section and hopefully end this video soon. With the content that we see that we're getting in Remind, from what it seems like, it's gonna be so what I remember is that, for one, it seems like we're gonna be getting a little bit of stuff to give us that more hints about people from the past in this game. They're going to give a little bit of that. They're going to give a little bit of extra information connecting Xehanort to the past and bringing extra plot lines into this game. But it's also, I think, mainly going to focus on what happens after Kingdom Hearts 3, which is really interesting to me, and I think that is okay. You know, I think that is great. Again, all of this stuff is great. The Remind DLC itself seems to be really good, but that's what is really annoying, is that the stuff that we're about to get in Remind is all the stuff that we should have had in the game from the jump. And that's what really frustrates me, is that they're deciding to make us pay extra money in order to get the content that should have been in the game from the jump. And that's what frustrates me the most, is that all of this content that we're about to get is going to be really good. We're about to see what happens with Sora after Kingdom Hearts 3, after he saved Kairi. I think it is more so about to be like the stuff that happens during that whole experience for him, but also like hinting what happens after, because it's really crazy in the final secret episode or whatever, not the one where it reveals Lushu, but the one after that, the secret movie. Sora and Riku, they wake up in what's the place called? Shibuya. But it turns out that this version of Shibuya is the one from The World Ends With You. So that's one thing that is interesting. And then two, they link Yozora from Toy Story's world into this story, you know, into the story as a whole. They're in the same world. We see that they're actually going to have some sort of fight or some sort of conflict, some sort of interaction with each other in this Remind DLC. So they're going to connect a lot of different things of what the meaning of the very end of this game was to what actually happened. That part is intriguing to me. Obviously, that's going to be great. But the fact that they're going to be adding content into the game as far as hints towards the past and foreshadowing for the future and a further explanation to characters that were not really fully explained in the core game is what frustrates me. You know, Luxord being a much prominent character than we thought and being a part of something from the past in Union Cross or something of that sort, that's also frustrating to me. And how apparently the Master of Masters, what it seems like at least, the way that his body tone works, the way that he moves about, seems like the Master of Masters is going to be in contact with young Xehanort. Either that or it's going to be Xigbar. I think that would be very interesting. So it's either going to be Luxu in one of his semblances talking to young Xehanort, or it's going to be the Master of Masters. Regardless of whichever one it is, it's explaining further how Xehanort became to be who he was, and that is something that should have been in the core game itself. You know how a lot of other people had so many theories? Everyone had this theory, including myself, or expectation, or just hope, that at the beginning of the game, it wouldn't start off as Sora, but instead of starting off as Sora and having this kind of like tutorial world, the way that we did in this game, it should have actually started us at young Xehanort, and being young Xehanort, learning about his past, and possibly him and Ericus becoming a master through a Mark of Mastery exam. They made it seem like Xehanort and Ericus, but mainly Xehanort, was going to be a big part of this game, which he kind of was, and I understand that that probably changed a lot after both of the voice actors have passed, which was really weird. Talk about conspiracy theories, but I feel like he should have been a much more prominent character to that, or that to be comparable to Sora being the main character. You know what I mean? That being said, we could have like started off as his character, but what I'm saying is that the content that we're about to get in Remind, it just should have been in the game from the jump. And then anything that would have come after this would have been okay. Like, everything would have been okay. Like, the fight possibilities where we can now play as other Kingdom Hearts other Guardians of Light. Now we're going to be able to play as almost all the Guardians of Light. We're going to be able to play as Kairi. We're going to be able to play as Ventus. We're going to be able to play as Riku again. There's going to be a very prolific fight with Axel, Xion, and Roxas all fighting Sayax. That is crazy. That definitely should have been in the beginning of the game. This is another point of fact, just straight fucking facts, that proves that this content in the Remind DLC should have been in the base game. Bro, we didn't have Oblivion or Oathkeeper in Kingdom Hearts 3 in the core game. Are you shitting me? Every other game had this Keyblade. These Keyblades had literally its own part in the story, that where the Keyblades themselves being in the game actually meant something, and their introduction, the way the perfect moments, both of them. Oathkeeper in the first game is when Kairi gave it to you in the first game. In the second game, it was you trying to find Kairi, but you had just missed her, and then you got Oathkeeper. And then in the second game, I think for Oblivion, it was when you met Riku, and you learned that he was actually had the appearance of Ansem, the Ansem Seeker of Darkness. And then you got Oblivion. See, they literally entered the game at a very prominent moment. I keep saying that word. A very important moment that would actually make sense and have a connection to what actually happened within the story. And that was in every game. And every game had these Keyblades. Kingdom Hearts 3 did not have Oblivion or Oathkeeper in the core game. Even though it's going to be free, it's going to be in an update. It's going to be in the future. It's not going to be in the core game. We have to wait for it. And it comes out, and this is why I say it's a part of the DLC. This is what I'll say. It's a part of the DLC because it comes out at the same time as the DLC. You know what I mean? We may not be paying for those Keyblades specifically if you're paying for the Remind DLC. But the fact of the matter is that they are coming in the future. They didn't come in the base game. We have to wait for them. We have to wait for more content. We have to literally wait for the content that should have been in the game from the jump. And that's what frustrates me the most about this game, is that the story itself had so much disconnection from what it should have been, in my opinion, and the fact that we are getting the stuff that could have, should have, or would have been in the game from the jump is now going to be getting done a year later, and most of it is going to be paid for. That I think is just heartbreaking, honestly. I was gonna say disappointing, I was gonna say blasphemous. It's just heartbreaking. Like, I've been waiting for this game for several fucking years, and this is what I get. I get an unfinished game that didn't have a prominent story, and it didn't have its connections that it should have, and it wasted characters, literally, and it wasted time, and now we're going to be getting content that should have been in the game in the future and paid for. So we have to pay extra money to get the content that should have been in the game from the jump. That's why I feel the way that I feel about this game, is because maybe me playing the past games 3 times each or more, and focusing heavily on how the story presented itself and how it progressed throughout all of these different series, and expecting it to be the same way in this game, maybe that was a mistake. Maybe. But I'm still gonna stay true to what I feel. And I just think that this game, its direction just didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense, and it broke my heart. Because the moment that I finished Kingdom Hearts 3, I just felt at a loss. I was hoping that this game would answer all of my questions and more. But no, the Kingdom Hearts game that everyone was waiting for, that everyone waited years for, only left us with more questions. More and more questions. Only like a couple questions being answered. And that's actually verbally being answered. A bunch of other things that were just hinted at, like other games. Everything should have been explained in this game. It's literally the culmination and the final Xehanort saga. I would not have given a damn if I would have had to wait an extra 2 years for this game, an extra 3 years for this game. I would have rather this game be fully complete and filled with the content that I think that the game should have had from the jump, to make it a real culmination of everything that we have experienced in the past. I don't know. I think that's really the end of what I really need to say. And I think I have already spoken about how this is basically the main reason behind me not really making YouTube videos about this game anymore. It's just that it made me feel disconnected from the series, and I didn't want to make more theories about a game that should have had all of my theories answered. That doesn't make any sense to me. That's why I haven't made any videos. You know, I just make soundtracks. You know, these game soundtracks are one of my favorite games in any of these games. All of these Kingdom Hearts games, every single Kingdom Hearts game had one of the best soundtracks that I have ever heard in my entire life. And that is probably one of the main reasons why I feel so connected to this game. And that is now really the only thing that I can even focus on, is one of the only good things that came out of this game, is the fucking soundtrack. The soundtrack is godlike. Yoko Shimomura fucking bested herself again, like always. All of these soundtracks were so amazing, but a lot of them were unreleased. And someone, I forget his name, but thank you, I think it's like, I don't remember what his name is. But someone released all of the main tracks from the game in like a 2-hour long video, and that was just filled with like, kind of like, how do I describe it? A lot of the themes that we were able to get at the beginning of release, you know, Everglow and all these other people, it was more so of like just battle themes and main themes and world themes, with some very important scene themes. But then someone else released another video where he was able to rip the voice audio from all of the cutscenes and only leave the music. And that was the most amazing thing to ever happen, because the soundtrack has still not been released after a year, and who knows how long they're gonna wait to release the soundtrack, if they ever do. This guy released a video with all the soundtracks in the game, ripped from the cutscenes without voice audio, so that we can listen to the music. And that's what I loved about that. That was one of the only things that I loved to come from this game, is that I was able to create content for some people that was those those soundtracks, but extended, because those are the videos that I used to love in the past. Either just the theme itself, you know, that 1 to 2 minutes of whatever that theme is, but then other people created extended themes to make it last longer, as if you're in a battle, or at least you're just sitting in the world. You know what I mean? And that's what I liked a lot. So I was able to do that myself. Now that I have audio, now that I have editing software, I have a good computer, and you know, it's just something that I feel very connected to. I really love the music, and I'm usually, sometimes I'm kind of off, I'm able to find a point where I am able to actually extend a theme that only lasted 2 minutes. I'm able to find a point in that audio where I can extend it and repeat itself, because that's basically all it is, extended. But that, you know, and just to kind of further explain, is that that's why I'm doing this content. It's just the game itself, I felt like I was at a loss of being able to actually talk about this game, because this is literally all I would fucking talk about. This is a culmination of all the videos that I would have made in the past year about Kingdom Hearts 3, because this is how strongly I felt about the game, and this is what I felt about the game the moment that I finished the game. This is what I felt. This whole video is what I felt about the game after I played it. And I just felt at a complete loss that I didn't want to make videos where I am theorizing, where I am talking highly about the game, where I am thinking about what happened in the game, because I would get frustrated. I would start ranting, and I wanted to give you guys the reason why, because this game just did not turn out in any way, shape, or form how I expected it to turn out. And it left me very heartbroken and disconnected from the series. I still adore the series fully, and I am more than eager to learn more about the series. You know, all of these story updates that are coming out for Union Cross, and the future of the games that are coming out, and again, even this DLC, the content that I should have had inside the game from the jump. I am still very excited for this stuff. But it's the fact that this game, it should have been the culmination of so many other things, and it should have answered so many questions, and it simply did not. I understand that there's going to be a lot of people who disagree with how I feel and how I think, but again, this is just my opinion, and if you don't like it, then, you know, that's on you. I don't really care about your opinion. I'm only giving my opinion because I feel like I just feel like it's right of me to give my viewers the justice that they deserve as to why I have not made any Kingdom Hearts content for the past year. It's because this game left me with many more questions rather than answers, so that I can then make more questions, and it just did not please me. I just thought that the game could have done so much better, and it didn't need to focus so much on Disney. You know, it just left me empty, and that really hurt me, because I felt a real special connection with Kingdom Hearts. But after this game, it made me feel disconnected, because the things that I expected for it to happen, or things that I could only see that was the only way that for it to happen, may have happened, but was not explained whatsoever. You know? I don't want to be left with questions after question after question after question. I want to have answers, so I can make more questions. And that's the problem with this, you know. I think that really sums up, you know, basically how I feel about this game. And I think I've accomplished my goal in letting you guys know exactly why I stopped making videos and how I feel about this game as a whole. There's definitely a shit ton of stuff that I left out, but at the same time, this is a long video. I don't know how long you guys are gonna stay here for this. If anyone did stay here for this, then you guys you guys mean so much to me. You know, I know that there are a couple people out there that I think will probably listen to most of this video, or at least give this video a lot of time to listen to my opinion and to find out why I stopped making videos, because I do know for sure that there are people out there that like to watch my videos, and to me, you guys mean the world. Even though I'm making all of these new subscribers off of one video that I made on my channel, I'm almost close to 20k subscribers. There's only so many people that I actually know I mean, I don't know that you guys' names off the top of my head, but I know that you know who I'm talking about, you know, or you know when I'm talking about you. Um, that there are people in my community that have stuck with me for so long, and it really almost brings me to tears that, you know, you were a fan of my content and I was able to give you that content for so long. But once Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, the game that all of us were waiting for as fans and as a community, the game that we were all waiting for me, it just did not sit well. And at the time, and still now, my mental state was just not good. So it really affected me on a mental state that I should not have allowed it to do. But what are you going to do? I'm human. And it really drew me away from making videos because I felt so at a loss when I played this game that I just did not have the enthusiasm to make any videos for it, because the way that the game ended and the way that the game progressed as a whole with the story, it just did not sit well with me. And it just left me feeling so, just so, I just didn't understand why things went the way that they did. So again, I just feel like the people who really support me deserve to know why I stopped making content, and I probably I don't know what the future holds, you know. After this Remind DLC, if we actually get some questions answered and some real content that can show towards the future, you know, maybe I will make videos. But as of this moment, I just don't know. I just don't know if I really have the enthusiasm to make discussions and stuff the way that I used to, because I see now that you know what I see now, and this is kind of getting into another subject. What I see now, just like everything else, everything that has something that has a culmination of something and a big series that I used to like throughout my childhood, nowadays is just getting ruined. Literally. Game of Thrones was basically fucking ruined the show, and then the last book hasn't come out. Kingdom Hearts, all the games were fucking perfect, and then this shit comes out. It's honestly crazy to me. And there's other things. Avatar: The Last Airbender, they have an amazing show, and then someone makes a bullshit movie. You know what I mean? Oh, The Legend of Korra. I need to rewatch it, so this is kind of like almost a raw opinion, but I personally, when I first initially watched the show in its entirety, I did not really like it compared to Avatar, but that's also, I think that has a lot to do with my expectations, so I think that that's cap. But things are basically just getting ruined. And one thing that I'm afraid of, again, just kind of digressing into another subject, is I used to love, absolutely love the Metroid series. They're about to release Metroid Prime 4, or they're in development of making that game for the Switch. And I have very high expectations for that game because all of these other games were really, really, really great. But the way that the world works now, it's all about the money. Fuck the community and fuck what the people want until they start complaining. I am genuinely afraid that Metroid Prime 4, whenever it is released on the Switch, might not be what I expect it to be, and it's going to be something completely different and outside of the scope of what Metroid is supposed to be. And that's what I'm scared of, because that's what fucking happens now. All of these companies, all of these industries, all they care about is like the money. They don't care about what the fans want. They care about the money first. And they try and do different things. They try and do things differently from what they did before so that they can try and, I don't know, get new people into the series or whatever. I don't understand, but it's really fucking stupid. And I'm really worried that Metroid Prime 4 won't be what I expect it to be. And if that happens, and it's something that I am not pleased with as a whole, I deadass might not even game anymore. Like, I've been telling people this from the jump. Like, so many things nowadays that I expect to be good end up being just bad because of what I've seen from its own series in the past being good, and then it is now bad. That has happened to like 5 things from my childhood now. And if it happens to Metroid, I might just stop gaming or something. I don't know, bro. Cause it's just gonna be it's just gonna be really baffling to me that things change so dramatically that original fans barely recognize what it is now. I think that that is a subject for another day. I just hope that, I answered you guys' question, and I hope that I gave you guys justice. I hope that this video means something to other people, because again, this Kingdom Hearts will always be dear to my heart, but in this game specifically, I just don't think that it held true to what it could have been or what it should have been. And I felt very strongly about it, and it affected me on a level uh, somewhat personally, and that affected my capability of making content for people that did enjoy my content. So I just wanted you guys to know why, and I wanted you guys to know my feelings and, in a sense, my review of Kingdom Hearts 3. Late as it is, I wanted you guys to know so that I can get it off my chest. This is something that has been building up literally for a whole fucking year, and I wanted it to be released before Kingdom Hearts Remind came out, so that you guys know how I felt about the core game and how I'm feeling about this upcoming game implementation, downloadable content, So, you know, and I did digress. I want to go back to, the people who are here, the people who stayed here from the beginning. I really appreciate you guys, and I'm really sorry that I was not able to give you guys the content that you wanted after the game if you were expecting anything from me. But this was something that I felt very strongly about, and I hope you guys understand, basically. But just know that I will always remember you guys, and I'll always remember the moments that we had together. I know this almost sounds like a goodbye, but it kind of is, but not really. I'll always be here. Now, I might make videos in the future, and I know I haven't streamed a lot at all either. That just has to do with, me as a person, my mental state, and stuff like that. But I just think that you guys deserve to know why I kind of just went silent after this game, and I think you guys deserve to know why and how I feel about the game as a whole. So again, I hope you guys understand, and I really appreciate anyone who is still here listening to this video and understanding what I'm feeling. If you don't understand and you can't relate, then that's fine. Everyone has their own opinion. Everyone has a different mind, and everyone thinks differently. And this is how I think. So I can only hope that you can understand. And again, I just want to thank you guys for being here for this video. Watching it, however long you watched it, if you skipped parts, I don't care. I just appreciate you guys listening to me if you did. And I would definitely love to see what you guys think personally about the game, or at least personally about things that I have spoken in this video, because everyone has a different way of thinking, and everyone probably has a different opinion about the parts that I specifically pointed out in this video in the Kingdom Hearts 3 game itself. And I'd love to see what you guys think. I'd love to see what you guys feel in conjunction to what I have said so far. I just want you guys to be, constructive criticism, you know what I mean? Constructive. Don't be fucking dicks, because then I'll just fucking delete your comment or block you. But I just hope that this video connects with people, and that it kind of, I'm not trying to say that it's gonna shine light or anything, or that it's gonna really mean something, because it's just an opinion. But I don't know, I've always held this game dear to me, and I just think that Kingdom Hearts 3 wasn't done right, and it really frustrated me, and I just want you guys to know that. So I think this marks the end of the video. I think it should end right here. I think this is more than enough, and if there's enough traction in the comments where it can make me talk about more about my feelings towards this game in a constructive way, or as constructively as possible, then possibly that will be the door to making more videos. And again, hopefully I can make more videos based off the content that we're getting in Remind, the Remind DLC, but we'll just have to wait and see. Other than that, I think I am going to go ahead and end the video here. It's been a really long ride, and I just want to say thank you all for watching the video and supporting me over all of these years. thank you all for staying around for all the videos that I made, and I'm sorry for not making enough content this past year after Kingdom Hearts 3, but hopefully that changes in the future. This just leaves a bad taste in the mouth. Again, mainly I'm just thankful for you guys sticking around, and I hope you guys understand, and I hope that we can talk about it in the comments so that we can discuss and maybe even talk about in the future some other things about this game and what good things we had about this game. But I will go ahead and leave it there, and again, thank you for watching the video. Leave a like if you did enjoy it, but I will see you guys in the next video.